Yes, team, and welcome to part 2 and session 20 of Mindset Mastery. Now, as a reminder, if you are here today watching this and you haven't done sessions 1 to 19, please go back and do them, and please ensure that you answer all of the questions on each session. Everything in this plan is set out for a specific reason. It's not a dip in and dip out course, and I want you to do each session strategically in the way that they are set out. So today you will hopefully be seeing a very different studio setup. We've invested in some brand new lights, we've invested in some backdrops, a new microphone and a new camera. Now, this is all just part of my dedication to continually improve the content, invest in myself, invest back into the company, and constantly upscale and improve absolutely everything that we deliver. Now, that's what we should all be doing in life. Whenever we get to a place where we're like, that's okay, that will do, that's good enough, that's when we get bored and that's when we do silly stuff. So this background can still be improved. This lighting can still be improved. The camera, the editing, we could have multi-cameras. Everything can be improved, but we also need to do it one step at a time. So whatever area of life you're in, don't settle, don't get comfortable. You know, some of you guys will remember, you know, Jan, Gordon, like some of the guys that have been here, you know, within one of my programs for 7 years. You know, in lockdown, this was a messy room and I was filming off of the crappy webcam on my computer, on my old Mac, on Zoom. I had decks in the background. We didn't have any lighting at all. We didn't have any microphones. We just had the microphone on the Mac. And if you look back now, they were terrible. And you've seen the journey that we've come to this, but we could then get to this point and say, okay, this is good enough now. You know, this is better than most people do. But that's not the attitude that wins. The attitude that wins is always looking for higher, better, more, and new levels of anything in any area of life. So in phase 2, we're going to be taking it new levels. But first of all, congratulations for still being here. Congratulations for working hard on yourself and doing those 19 sessions of Mindset Mastery. It requires discipline, it requires dedication, and also it requires consistency. Now, those of you here, well, nearly all of you are business owners now. You will also see that we have now launched Ascension, which is the brand new 52-week plan, which is entirely for business owners. This includes unlimited access to me and my team, unlimited access to our business resources, business coaching, mindset coaching, money mastery, overcoming limiting beliefs, building teams, scaling, strategy, and everything in between. Social media, you know, it's the one-stop shop for business owners to not only get what they need in terms of strategy and knowledge, but also in terms of mindset, because it's still, as with all of our courses, you know, business is 80% mindset, 20% strategies. I'm going to teach you a lot more within that plan about who you need to become to make the money that you want and earn the business that you want than the actual strategies that are needed to do it. They're actually quite easy. So reach out to me if that's something that you're interested in doing that plan. As I said, it includes unlimited access to me. It's completely unscalable. It's limited to 10 business owners at any one time because you can book as many Zooms as you want. You literally, I am your complete right-hand man and your partner within your life and your business to take it to new levels. So I am sure your mind is now in a completely different place to where it was 19 weeks ago. And you've seen some transformation in your life. You'll have seen some transformation in your business, some transformation with your body. And we will be creating a new you, a new identity, because as we've said before, you can't take the old you into a new plan and expect a different outcome. So let's dive in and take it to new levels. So it's time to dig deep and it's time to understand your mind in a way that you've never understood it before, so that you can control it and so that you can change it. We're going to look at the identity again. We're going to look at happy and sad. We're going to look at courage and fear. We're going to look at the dark side and the light side and why you can't have one without the other. Now, if we can understand these beliefs, if we can understand our mind, if we can understand our fears, then we can change them. So what we need to understand is that our mind, each and every individual, and this is why Ascension as a plan is going to be so powerful, because It's got a syllabus that supports it, very much like Mindset Mastery. But again, every business owner and every mind is completely different. So that's why working one-to-one with a mentor just beats everything, because it's a bespoke coaching plan that's with a person who's got a 30,000 foot overview of your life. Now, within coaching and personal development and business coaching and mentoring, all of the platforms and the seminars and the syllabus are absolutely incredible, but they're still written with people in mind and with businesses in mind, not precisely with you in mind. So that's why it's so powerful, because each mind has its very own way of thinking. It has its own thoughts, its own beliefs, and these thoughts that create these beliefs lead to how you behave, and that creates your behavior or your experience of life. So the way I want you to think of it right now is your mind is like a computer, and it's been programmed for 40 years, over 40 years, over 50 years, some of you, and it will have been programmed with some gold. It will also have been programmed with some SH1T, as my grandfather would have called it. Now, no two minds are the same, no two bodies are the same, and no two businesses are the same. As I said, that's why, and this isn't a pitch, but that's why, coaching plans and programs with generic support and seminars and videos to watch and, a whole library of things like you're watching now are great. But the next step is really understanding the person, the mind, and their business on an individual level. This is why I'm against a lot of mentorships, because it's all very generic business advice. No two businesses are the same. Generic mindset advice. No two mindsets are the same. So I'm going to say a few words, and when I do, sounded very official, isn't it? I'm going to stand up and say a few words. Wedding. I want you to pause, and I want you to pay attention to the thoughts and the emotions that pop into your head. So the most money you've ever had, the least money you've ever had. Your hero, your enemy. The person you've loved the most, the person you've hated the most. The best day of your life and the worst day of your life. The happiest day of your life and the saddest day of your life. Now, when you think of the happiest day of your life, what do you think? What do you feel? What emotions do you experience? And when you think of the saddest day of your life, what do you feel? What emotions do you experience? What do you think? Now, the reality is, and why I've done that, is you can't be happy without sad. You can't experience it. There can't be light without dark. There can't be day without night. There can't be positive without negative. If we didn't know what fear was, we wouldn't know what courage was. This is why I say you can't be fearless. You can be courageous and you can experience fear. Imagine like a world where there was no night, there was just day. We wouldn't even know what night was. Now, if you'd never been sad and a bit down, then you'd never really know what happy was, because you'd just be happy all the time. So we know that there are both sides to all emotions, all experiences, and all areas of life. And the reality is both sides are always available. What you've got to be grateful for is always available. What you don't have is always available. Happy is always available. Sad is always available. Now, what we need to understand on a deeper level to really take life to new levels is how the mind works and how do we start to control what decisions we make, because the decisions we make are what shapes our life. It's what shapes our body, it's what shapes our income, it's what shapes our relationships. And I'm sure you'll all agree with me right now, if we made even 50% better decisions, which all come from thoughts, by the way. You never make a decision without thinking about it first. Granted, with ADHD, it might take about 0.5 of a second before you get to the decision. But, we would all skyrocket to new levels. So every single day we make decisions that impact our lives, that impact our businesses, that impact our families. Every day we make multiple decisions on what to eat. We make a decision how many hours we work, how hard we work, whether we're going to be positive, whether we're going to be nice to people. We make a decision whether to go to the gym or not, whether to get our steps in, whether to do a social media post, whether to respond to a message, whether we drink alcohol or not. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But we are making decisions all day, every day, subconsciously or consciously, and the decisions that we make are what shape our lives. Now, these decisions will always be primarily affected by three things. One is our environment. So if we're in McDonald's, is it going to be difficult or hard to make a decision whether to eat fast food or not? If you're surrounded by negative Nancys, is it going to be difficult to make a decision whether to blame, complain, and justify or not? The other thing, next thing, is our past and our memory. So the bigger the memory, the bigger the emotion. Our brain is essentially a giant screenshot, memory bank, photos of everything that's happened right up until that point. The bigger the memory, the bigger the emotion. So it's easy to go back to them for safety, and they will tend to shape our future. If you had a bad experience, let's say you asked 3 girls out and they all said no and laughed at you, and that was a harsh emotion that you felt like you weren't good enough, and that's logged in your memory, is that going to affect your decisions moving forward? Yeah, you're probably going to be less likely to do it because you want to avoid that experience. That's why most of us don't do things, because we're afraid that we'll be mocked, judged, and laughed at, and that will ignite our biggest fear, that we're not enough, and as a result we won't be loved. That's my biggest fear, it's your biggest fear, it's everyone's biggest fear. And the other thing that will shape us outside of our environment and our past and our memory is other people. If you've got someone in your life who is constantly trying to drag you to the pub, constantly trying to get you to do negative things, or constantly in your ear telling you to do things, telling you how to live your life, very often that's your parents, then that's going to affect the decisions that you make, because we take information in from all of these things, and they're what shapes our decisions. So your decision might be shaped by your past, by other people, and by your environment. You know, if someone brings cakes into work, well, that's your environment. Then they start bullying you to, oh, just have a cake, what's wrong with you? So that's the other people. And then you remember in the past when you had that cake and, oh my God, it was so nice. So you've got 3 things that shape that decision, which is the wrong decision. Now, here's the part that will completely transform your life. And those of you who've watched all 22 episodes of Reprogram Your Mind podcast or listened to it on Spotify will know this. The mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and visualization and reality in the past. The whole next session is going to be on this, okay? Now, you can literally think and grow rich. I've also dropped a bonus session into Ascension and Mindset Mastery, which is my own version of Think and Grow Rich. The first 3 sections, which are desire, faith, auto-suggestion, and the development of self-confidence, with some templates for all of them. So it's powerful stuff. And it's why Think and Grow Rich is so possible, why you can actually literally think and grow rich, why meditation and visualization are so possible, are so powerful, because what you think about, you will become. So you can either be focused on a compelling and exciting vision of the future, or you can be shackled by memories of the past. You can focus on what's happened, what's happening, or what you want to have happen. And trust me, focus on the last one all of the time, and putting systems in place, which we're going to learn, to only focus on that is the most powerful thing in the world. And then when we can make decisions and take actions that align with the future version of ourselves, not the past, that's the key to unlocking your wildest dreams, because your brain will see more of whatever you feed it. So if you feed it an exciting vision of the past that you're compelled to work towards, my vision board's up there in front of me with my huge villa in Ibiza. You know, my sales targets that I need to hit it are over there. So I can feed my brain with what I want and what I want to have happen and what I need to do to get it. Or I can feed my brain with what happened yesterday and how it made me feel and who let me down and the past and, you know, a message I received that's triggered an old memory, and like, it will multiply whatever you feed it. So feed it the good stuff, because as I said, and I'll be starting with this next week, I've actually written this down, you know, the opener to session 21, which will be next week, is you can be inspired and pulled by a vision of the future, or you can be shackled by a memory of the past. I feel like I've got that, Joe Dispenza saying that imprinted in my mind. That's where I got it from. And I could read it off 1,000 times and never forget it, because I've trained my thoughts on that by watching him repetitively until it's become a belief. But remember, whatever you focus on is what will shape your reality. Whatever you focus on, the mind will literally find more of. So stop focusing on what's happened. Stop focusing on what you didn't want to have happened. Get rid of whose fault it was and why, and focus the mind on a vision of the future and what you want to have happened. That's the key to new levels. I'll see you on session 21.